Thank you, Dean Uscher, and thank you for asking me to come today. It's really an honor to be here. When you read all of that, I just felt exhausted. And it brought to mind, it's traditional to have a quote or an admonition or something like that in a graduation speech. And when I heard that, I thought of the screenwriter William Holden, who said, "Nobody knows anything." And I think that's really important because we've got fancy regalia, we've got stuff, we've got degrees, we have resumes and all of that. But really, nobody knows anything, and I think everybody in the same probably agree with me on that. And that's important to keep in mind because that quote suggests that anything is possible. That if nobody knows anything, then everybody can know something. That it's all possible for all of us to create a new idea, to come up with a new thought. So I thought I would start with that. But before going any further, of course, congratulations. Congratulations, you did it. You did it. Okay. And when I say you did it, I mean the students, of course, you are now graduates as of yesterday, I understand. But also all the parents, friends, family, high school art teachers, interested friends, anybody who saw something you needed, who responded to something that you created, who reinforced the idea that you had something awful creatively, who gave you the idea that you could pursue an arts education. That's incredible because there are a lot of voices out in the web who tell you that it's a bad idea and it's even wasteful of college opportunity. They are wrong, and I think you should thank all your family and friends here who supported you in making this choice. Congratulations also to the faculty and staff. You did it too. You graduated in another class. Actually, great. I also want to acknowledge that this is public university, and that's really significant. I personally think that college should be free for everybody, especially humanities. And I know that this education was partly free for you, that it was expensive, it's hard to get through college, even a state school. But, I did a little looking into the numbers. We pay a lot less than the kids who go to fancy private schools, a lot less. And it's important to acknowledge that the state of Nevada, the taxpayers of Nevada, the state government, they all supported you in doing this. They subsidize your education with tax dollars. That's really amazing. That's really amazing in our current world. So I want to just acknowledge that you are all the beneficiaries of that collective effort. So the state believes in you. Although it may not feel like that. So, in the spirit of nobody knows everything, I don't feel qualified to lay out a definition of what art is or should be, but I have the idea that it's core human impulse, that it can be grouped together with things like eating and sleeping and sex and work and friendship and play and family and spirituality. It's a core thing. It's a feature of all human culture from the beginning of time. It's something that we all have within us, and in some way or another, we all participate in it. There isn't a human-created thing that does not contain some element of art or design. It's what distinguishes us as a species. We make things. Some of them are physical, some of them are notional. And how we make them defines who we are. They make meaning of who we are and bottoms up. So that's the enterprise that you're embarked on. Is to make things. And those things might be intangible things, but they're all the creation of a way of thinking. And I think, personally, that people who make work guided by this kind of thinking can sometimes express true and human things more accurately than words can. There's something different about stuff created through this other process, filtered through the human being, all the and sort of nonverbal aspects of us that can express something very profound and deep. Now, I think we have all experienced this when we've looked at We've been to a performance, we've seen a particular image, we hear a piece of music in the right circumstances, if we're in the right frame of mind, that can transport us. I think that we all have this creative capacity within us. And that I'm not suggesting that artists are magical or supernatural, or you have some sort of supernatural power. But I think that you are able to express something in some nonverbal ways that activates that thing that I have in me too. So it's a form of connecting with other people. It's a way of expressing some real deep and human truths. And that is really, really important. So maybe an artist is just someone who has the intuitive sense that this is what's going on. Whereas most people don't think about it. They experience it, they don't think about what the process is. An artist is someone who looks past what most people don't pay attention to. They'll listen, think, and observe, and filter through the process. Who are willing to propose new ideas or arrangements. Like someone who, I think artists are people who are not too stuck inside their own heads, not too stuck on works. But people who allow themselves to have a whole of body response to something. Because we're not just our brains, we're not just our thoughts, we're also our bodies. And we have to allow that to enter into the experience as well. So that was a lot of words to try to get a handle on just one word, art. And that's exactly my point, is that it's bigger than that. I saw on Instagram this morning several college graduations where the speaker was talking about AI and being doomed by students. So I don't want to go there. So I'm reluctant to talk about it because we hear so much about it now, and most of it is apocryphal or apocalyptic, and it is frankly terrifying on some levels. But just an observation about that. What AI is doing mostly right now is working with words. And words have their limitation. Words are arbitrary chunks of meaning. They break down meaning into little carrots we call words, and we recombine them in different ways. And we can, they're very useful and they're very beautiful, but they are limited in what they can do. AI is getting very good at that part of it. It's getting very good at combining words together. It's industrializing speech is what it's doing at this point. So what you are learning, the path that you've decided to take does not leave you stuck in that realm enough. You have a way of thinking that circumvents the limitations of just words. So for the folks who told you that an arts education wasn't going to help you, they were wrong. They were manifestly wrong. You have learned, you have the capacity to thrive in the world that's coming, which nobody knows what it's going to be. There are a lot of predictions about what's going to happen with AI. I don't know. The only thing I can say with certainty is that nobody else knows either. Going back to the nobody knows anything category. Has anything the technology people said would come to pass in the way they said it would? Nothing has gone that way. Think about what happened with social media. Did it impact the world? No, did it? So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. I think it's also important that as artists that intervene upon it. I was going to say engage with it, but I don't think engage is exactly the right word. Because I don't think we should accept whatever we're just handed. We need to intervene on it and humanize it to make it a thing that is pro-social, that results in something that's good for all of us. Now, that's not your responsibility alone as artists, but I think that you do have a unique role to play in doing that. And I think it's quite urgent, honestly. So, art is a hard professional path. We all know that. Many art student graduates will not end up making full-time careers as dancers or musicians or painters or whatever they study. It just is hard. Many will wind up working in related fields, while others will go into completely different directions. In no sense are these failures. I cannot stress this enough. I studied art history My specialty was Greek sculpture. I never spent a day thereafter doing anything related to that. No. But studying that gave me a way of thinking about images, a way of just a little access. It gave me the idea that I had a right to think about this and talk about this, that it was not somebody else's realm and that I wasn't allowed into. And honestly, the art world can be a little forbidding that way. It can be kind of excluding out and snobby. And they use secret language and they make it hard to access. That's all bullshit. Excuse my language. Yeah. Don't be chased off by that. Nobody knows anything. Keep that in mind. So whatever path you end up going on, you will have your artistic sensibility, this way of thinking, the great education you just received with you. You will take that with you wherever you go. If you do not become a professional artist in the narrow sense of that, you will definitely, I can say this for certain, all art school graduates become citizens, voters, friends, workers, colleagues, husbands, wives, parents, community members. And you will make all of those places and all of those relationships better for being artists. And you are artists right now. You don't need anything else. You don't need a graduate degree. You actually didn't even need this degree to be an artist. It's great that you got it. Because I think to be an artist is to decide to live in the world in a certain way. And you already made that choice a long time ago. You made that when you were applying to the school, when you made the decision that you were that kind of person. Here's a telling statistic for you too, when it comes to college then. 10 years after graduation, art school alumni report themselves to be happier than folks with technology degrees. So there you go. Yes. So I was running my little notes for the speech past my 14-year-old daughter, and I asked her, is this good? Is there anything else I should say? She said, Dad, tell them to make their beds every night. And I should be clear, she does not do that. At least not without prompting. She was trolling me because I say that to her all the time. And I was a very late bloomer as a bed maker. I really did not become consistent until I was about 40 years old. I was a slab maker then. But I'm a fully committed bed maker now, and I need to tell you that my life has improved. And I'm serious. I'm serious. It may seem trivial, but the practice of it is a demonstration of consistency, of a willingness to work, of a commitment to oneself, because nothing good comes without hard work. There's no getting around that out, whether you're an artist or anything else. But I think especially if you're an artist, all the artistic thinking and creativity and all the fancy descriptions of art and all of that you heard from me and the other speakers, none of that means anything without consistent, patient, grueling, and often frustrating work. If you want to be an artist, you must first commit to being in work code. There's no getting around it. And here's the thing, at some point, when you're not paying attention, the work becomes its own reward. And you will find that work leads to inspiration, not the other way around. The good news is that this is within your control. While the vagaries of creative inspiration or technology developments or job makers are not. So when you don't know what else to do in the morning, you don't know what step to take, make your bed and get to work. Thank you.